That is also off. Okay, there we go. Hmm. We're gonna do this once again. Welcome to part two of the live broadcast. This is the week that was part two. The studio gremlins are on complete attack mode today, but I'm gonna throttle back about 10 minutes because that seems to be where I lost the live feed for you. And from what I can gauge, I was kind of talking about the Trump accounts. The Trump accounts are a new type of tax advantage custodial IRA created under the 2025 One Big Beautiful Bill. They're designed specifically for children under 18 to give the next generation a head start on long term investing and wealth building. I love that idea. I mean, getting kids in there early and thinking about it early is even better. The longer you're invested, the more money you make. Compounding is the eighth world wonder. Eligible U.S. children born between 2025 and 2028 can receive one-time $1,000 pilot contribution directly from the U.S. Treasury once the account is activated. Annual contributions from parents, guardians, grandparents, and employers, or anyone else can contribute up to $5,000 per year, tax deferred, of course. The ownership itself of the account is by the child. The parents or guardians act as custodians until the child turns 18. The funds become fully the child's. They can continue to grow it tax deferred like a traditional IRA, or be withdrawn with taxes applying on those gains. But this week, the big news for Trump accounts is that the app rolled out. The app is built by Robinhood and they're partnered with BNI Mellon. It launched this past Thursday and quickly ran to number one in the finance category in the app stores. Full functionality and contributions, though, start for the 4th of July this year. What a great day to start that, though. Robinhood serves as the initial trustee and brokerage provider, handling the tech platform and customer support. The investment options are going to be primarily low cost index funds and stocks. This is a massive opportunity for the next generation, as well as for Robinhood's revenue stream. Analysts estimate it could bring in millions of new customers and sticky long term assets under new management. Trump accounts are being called one of the biggest youth financial initiatives since the GI Bill. They blend government support with private sector innovation and could create an entire new generation of investors who grow up with Robinhood as their very first platform, like it was for me and my family. Overall, for Robinhood, this is a game changer, moving the company from transaction based crypto trading into long term recurring relationships with families. It also explains a big part of this week's stock surge. I'm hoping the last live stream covered that portion. If it didn't, I'll have to recover it again, and that's okay. I'll just keep making more content for you because I want to get that information to you as best I can. Real policy tailwinds are also a big momentum mover for Robinhood stock. Additionally, this week we have SpaceX. We're going to talk about that a little bit as well. So, SpaceX had a pretty massive week. In It's deepening the ties with the U.S. Space Force. They're reshaping both the commercial and national security space landscapes together. The IPO momentum lowered its targeted IPO valuation to at least 1.8 trillion, down earlier from 2 trillion talks, while still aiming to raise up to 75 billion in what would be the largest IPO in history. The roadshow is heating up though, with Potential NASDAQ listing ticker SPCX in this coming early June, as well as some of the Starship successes. On May 22nd to 23rd, SpaceX launched its biggest, most powerful Starship version 3 test flight yet. A major milestone. The flight carried mock Starlink satellites and advanced the program significantly for NASA's Artemis moon missions and future Mars ambitions. Starlink activity otherwise, multiple Falcon 9 launches added dozens more satellites to the cons- um, dozens? Dozens of satellites. That can't be right. That's a lot of satellites. Sorry, I was just taken aback by that number for a second. Multiple Falcon 9 launches added dozens more satellites, and that means more revenue for Starlink. Now supporting more than 20, 10 million subscribers. Wow, that's huge. Space Force collaboration, though. Big contracts were awarded. SpaceX is becoming the go to partner for the U.S. military's space ambitions. 2.9 billion space data network backbone contract. SpaceX will build a resilient low Earth. Thank you so much for letting me know it's working. Um, SpaceX will build a resilient low Earth orbit satellite network using a Starshield tech to serve as military internet in space for a joint force there. They're also investing 4.20 billion, 420 billion. Yes, that's not a joke. 420 billion for space-based sensing satellites to track and target airborne threats globally. This accelerates the military's sense-to-shooter capabilities. The Space Force's fiscal year 2027 budget request is massive. We're looking at about 71 billion, with heavy emphasis on proliferated constellations. Yep. Heavy lift launches and resilient architectures, areas where SpaceX dominates. SpaceX isn't just launching rockets anymore. It's becoming a critical national security partner while preparing for one of the most anticipated public debuts in human history. The combination of Starship progress, Starlink growth, and these huge military contracts is supercharging investor excitement around the IPO. Also, we're getting a little bit of whispers here and there that Tesla and SpaceX will merge into one company. So we could see an immediate change on the Mag 7 from Tesla to SpaceX because they'll just absorb oneself and then most likely just immediate swap out. That's probably gonna piss off a few people, I think, because if like you absorb a company that's on the Mag 7, do you replace its position immediately on the S&P 500? I'm gonna have to look into that. I don't know if anybody knows that because this is a lot of unprecedented stuff. Do you immediately go onto the S&P 500? I would think so. Starlink growth is huge, though. These huge military contracts, like I said, are supercharging investor excitement. These developments show how commercial space and defense are converging very quickly. Expect more volatility and hype as the IPO roadshow ramps up. This could lift the entire space sector for months to come. Like this entire summer could be nothing but space. Like I'm just elated I'm a big fan of space. Space is the next frontier. Not to sound like a stinking cliche, but my goodness. We're going to take a little bit of a left turn here towards another stock that's been doing a lot of movement this week and had some big news. Open Door Technologies had a big week as well. The iBuyer platform had one of its strongest moves in months amid improving operational signals and index news. The stock was trading mid $4 early in the week because it was a short week. Uh, Wednesday, Thursday surged. Shares rocketed higher, gaining 9 to 11% in a single session at one point, closing above $5 yesterday. Volume exploded to over 50 million shares on peak days, breaking out from recent consolidation. Year to date, Open remains down significantly, but shown signs of potential bottoming process in with this week's momentum. But the key catalyst was the Russell 3000 index inclusion announced in the middle of the week, effective after market close on June 2026. This guarantees automatic buying from index tracking ETFs and funds, often sparking short term rallies in smaller names like Open. So we're going to keep our eyes open for the we're going to keep our eyes peeled for the open door rally that we're most likely going to see towards the end of June when it officially gets included. Broader housing tailwinds, on the other hand, I don't know. Any signs of stabilization in the mortgage rates and improving inventory might help the sentiment in the sector, but from anybody you talk to who's in the housing market for the first time, they're having to take um, the money they do have and move it to places that they never really thought they would have to. So it's interesting to see the overall how the overall market's going to moving forward, because if it's going to stay expensive for the housing market, then people who do have assets that they could invest, they're going to take it elsewhere, whether that's going to be to the stock market, whether that's going to be to cryptocurrency, to blockchain in some way, maybe to smaller houses, or maybe even just real estate exposure on the stock market. I'm not quite sure. Housing and becoming a homeowner is becoming increasingly difficult for more than half of the entire generation that I'm in, for sure. Probably 90% of us. Because the average age of a first-time home buyer is somewhere in their 40s or 50s at this point. So that's a hard pill to swallow, but I think moving forward we'll be in great shape. As a generation, we just got to keep investing our money wisely and just wait. If it's beneficial to wait, don't park yourself in a 30-year something or other. If things are going to pull back a little bit, just give it a second. The the markets are kind of overinflated. They think things will level off the second half of the year. But Open Door is still in sort of a turnaround mode. Revenue is down year over year due to tough housing market, like I said. But operational metrics like the Russell inclusion are trending in the right direction. The Russell inclusion is a classic index driven fuel, but sustained gains will depend on actual housing recovery and delivery on profitable targets. This week's pop up shows how quickly sentiment can shift in small real estate tech when positive catalysts sort of line up. We're gonna keep watching this stock. We could see somewhere above 525 to 550, or a pullback towards 450 support. Right? We don't really know what's going on yet. Most of what's going to be happening is going to be towards the June 2026 area, and because of the overall market and the eyes are just on space right now, I don't see the uh, broader market moving towards open doors just yet. But I can see this happening the second half of the year, maybe towards Q3, Q4. We get more of a push towards 6, 8, maybe even $10 again. Really just depends on the overall market itself. Now, whew. All right, I'm gonna take a sip of Sprite for this because hope you're sitting down, because I'm sitting down, and this is huge news. Are you sitting down? All right. Let's get a little bit of a drum roll going on. I got invited back to Hood Summit 2026. Oh, I'm so excited to see all my friends and my extended family out there. I'm glad we're going to be back together in one big party group, energy fueled educational session. I can't tell you what's going on because I don't really know what's going on, but what I do know is it's going to be in Houston, Texas this year. It's going to be the opening ceremony is going to be at the Houston Space Center or something like that. I don't know. We're gonna get more details as more details come out. I'm honestly I've been holding my tongue this entire pod just to get to that. Like that's where I got my pin from last year, right? Like hello, oh, wrong pin. This one. I'm just honestly excited to get in a room with a bunch of people who think just like me for just a moment in time. I want to bring my family out there to Texas and have them enjoy the Texas hospitality. Uh, once my family and my wife, mostly my wife, caught wind that uh, it was going to be in Texas and we're going to be going to the Space Center, that was it. We're like, let's just go as a whole family. So most likely we're going to be there a couple days before. Um, or a couple days after. I'm not quite sure yet, but please hit me up on X. Let's connect in some way. We'll talk stories there at Hood Summit 2026 in Houston. I'm excited to get my hat game on, my boots, my cowboy attire. You got to get that what do they call it? A Canadian tuxedo, denim on denim. But from what I can tell you is most likely some of the stuff they're going to be talking about are going to be the Trump account rollout, agentic trading tools, the evolution of retail derivatives into um, and onto and crypto on the platform, and plenty of the behind the scenes looks at the Robinhood roadmap. For those who don't know, though, because I went straight into it because I couldn't keep my mouth shut there for a second, um, Robinhood Hood Summit is it's like one big Robinhood educational fueled just hype show. I mean, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I don't go to a lot of these. All right, like I don't want to call it a convention because that's such a small way to think about it. Because yes, okay, we're going to be seeing panels and stages and podcasts, but the interpersonal connections that happen between traders when it's face to face, I mean, that's how like big trades are made. That's how we can move an entire room. Like last year, it was nothing but whispers and talks about Open Door. So I'm excited to see what the whispers and talks are going to be about this year. Who got into SpaceX IPO? What happened? Especially with it being in Houston. And the theme is going to be called the Engines of Change. So that's just super incredible. But it's Robinhood's flagship event for top traders, power users, content creators, and community leaders. Last year, it was an incredible mix of product reveals, fireside chats with Robinhood execs, including Vlad, networking, and real talk about the future of retail investing, or everyday traders, as I like to think about it. This year is sharpening up or shaping up to be even bigger. From what I'm sort of seeing, there's going to be a lot of different things scheduled for this year. I don't have a whole lot of details yet, other than what I've s- spoke on. Most likely, they're going to also talk about how Robinhood Social has progressed. Hopefully, they're going to get the dividend tracker out for the people who want that, because there's a lot of movement, and then there's some of the things that we were looking forward to from last year that we're still looking forward to coming out hopefully before the next Hood Summit. I can see it coming out over the summer, and I'm excited to hear about and see the new products that come out and the new ways they're innovating for investors like you and I to be on the computer or on the phone as much as we want and not be on as much as we want. Sometimes we can redivert it and park it somewhere so we can have some time off, but it still generates a great income. So I'm looking forward to what I'm anticipating is going to be a dividend, high yield dividend robo account, like probably managed by Robinhood Strategies, but designed to basically supercharge your savings into something like an income. Or if you drip into that account long enough, something that could become an income. So that's really great for a lot of people. But sorry, this computer was freaking out there for a second. But as far as Hood Summit goes, like personal reflection wise, I know I've grown a lot since last time I was there to now. I mean, if you've been following the podcast at all, even with all of the crazy gremlins and the fact that I cut off mid pod and have to jump onto a completely new one, um, it's been a huge improvement. And my trading game has gotten just as good, if not better. Um, like, I don't win all the time. Like, if you follow me on Robinhood Social, you know what my win lose rate is. It's right there for you to see. I'm not shy about it. I'm here to learn, right? Like, I know I have things that are safe, that will grow no matter what. Like, sometimes modestly, sometimes really well. But long term, if my goal has always been a legacy, then this is the company that I'm happy to do it with. Like, their long term outlook is just like mine. Like, their relentless innovation and want for discovery and to create new things and new ways for people to create a new future, to change their stars. Right? You don't have to just sit there and hope your way into a better life. The stock market existed long before I got there, but with the tools now and the brokerages out there, there's almost no excuse for you to sit and park it in a CD that makes you 1.5%, or put it in a savings account that makes maybe 3.25%, when those two things will just be eaten by inflation and depreciation. You should move towards investing somehow as early as you can. And it's so much more fun and more intuitive than it ever was. And with the way AI works and the way AI can teach you things, there's no excuse on why you can't learn it. I learned it. I love learning things. I will learn literally anything I'm interested in, and if it sticks, and if I even when I'm doing poorly and I still want to go back every day, that's how I know I found something I loved, and this is what I love. I love sharing it with you, but I also love sharing the education with the people in my community, sharing the the love and the wealth engine that is investing somehow. Like, I know this is boring stuff, not as boring as it used to be. Um, Personally, I remember when people would come in and try to shill investment packages to us as hairstylists and try to shill retirement packages to us, and it just felt like a con selling a con, right? It just smelled gross and felt slimy. So I've always pursued ways to do things on my own, right? Because if something goes wrong, at least I know it's because I did something wrong. It wasn't because I trusted someone. Like, that sucks way more, right? To trust someone and then they disappoint you. So I like being able to self-drive my wealth, and platforms like Robinhood, SoFi, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, they all have ways that you can self-direct your future with patience, a little bit of guidance and knowledge, um, a passion for understanding your finances, and spending a little less than you make. Like, why is that? That's not too difficult a lot of the time. I know it's expensive out there. I live in Hawaii. It's expensive. But what I also know is I watch people overspend on things they don't need to overspend on. Um, but I'm going to get off my soapbox for a second and stop trying to dad you. I'm excited for Hood Summit, but here's some of the takeaways from this pod as well as the last pod, since this was the very first two-part live episode. Stock markets stay resilient and hit new highs. Robinhood was the star of the week. Trump accounts are a game changer. SpaceX momentum is accelerating. Housing tech showing early green candles. And again, on a just a bonus note, I'm just elated for Robinhood Summit. Um, it's just nice to be seen, I guess, right? For something other than what you thought you were for a long time. Like, I'm a man who likes to create things, and if you know me, I used to do a lot of hair and create a lot of beautiful shapes with it. Um, and then that sunsetted, right? That time has passed, and I found something that's even more engaging and with a community that's more welcoming than hairdressers are, which is wild, right? You would never, I guess maybe, I don't know, but it's hard to imagine that investors would be more kind to one another and more encouraging about trying to grow wealth together than people who are standing right next to each other in a salon, right? I tried and not, I wasn't successful in every salon to create a cohesive working environment. I can be a bit of an ass. I mean no malice, but I'm not gonna lie, like I don't rub people the wrong way sometimes. But the people that I connect with, I think we vibe on a good level. And I appreciate all of the traders out there who stick with me and my funny anecdotes and my interesting perspectives on the entire existential nature of existing as a observational being who happens to observe a universe that doesn't necessarily have eyes to observe itself. As wild and nonsensical as that sounds. But with that being said, thank you for joining me. Please just stay curious about everything. Stay disciplined as best you can. But as always, see you soon. Farewell. Ahui ho. Stay safe. And I'll see you out there in the markets. And I'll see you on the porch. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining me today.